Hello, everyone. This is Hillary D. Simpson, and today we're going to talk to you about some things. But first of all, answer this question if you can, okay? What do all these foods have in common? Some candy, some frozen dessert, some cheese doodles or some chips, some apple juice, some soda, we have some Oreos, and some Lunchables. What do they all have in common? Well, if you answered what kids love and what they eat a lot, I would say yes, you're absolutely right. Yes, kids love to eat these things and they eat them a lot. And as parents, we provide it for them because we're not so sure about how bad it is and how many calories and saturated fats and sugars they have. So let's think about on a typical day. What are our kids eating? Think about for breakfast. They'll have pancakes, waffles, syrup, some juice. They'll maybe have some apple or orange juice, and they'll have cereal, okay? And, if you don't do that, then you'll probably have some overly processed food like some corn dogs, stuff that you buy in a package, and it's ready-made. All you have to do is heat it up. They'll have that. Or, worst thing, you go to the drive-thru, okay? You probably go in a McDonald's line, a fast food line, and you get them some breakfast. What about for lunch? What do they have for lunch? Well, they love pizza. In this school, they love when pizza is served. Everybody eats pizza, okay? They'll have chicken nuggets. They'll have some Capri Suns. That's popular. Juice boxes. And soda's popular too. Dinner. What do they love to eat for dinner? Well, they eat pizzas again, okay? They'll probably eat a burger for dinner. They'll eat pasta, mac and cheese. They'll have some processed foods, or they'll get on the fast food line again and they'll have dinner. Okay, not to mention their dessert time where they have all these things, the frozen foods, the cakes, the cookies, the candy, and all those things add up. Well, why do we feed the kids these foods? Well, because kids love them and it's super convenient. Parents don't have to cook, right? The deal is you don't really want to be cooking or you don't have the time to cook. So you get something that's very convenient. That's how they eat so much of these foods. Well, what is the problem with that, right? We all know that that is not safe, that too much of it is bad, and too much sugar is bad, and too much saturated fat is also bad. But the question is, how much is too much? Well, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, they say that the children are getting, with all of these foods and not even as much as these foods, they're getting more than 66 grams of sugar per day. More than 66 grams per day. And if you count that for a year, it's more than 53 pounds of sugar on an annual basis. 53 pounds in 1 year for a child. Is all these calories coming from? They say most of it is coming from the drinks that they consume. 66 grams of sugar? Well, how much sugar is that really? You're looking at about 16 teaspoons of sugar in 66 grams of sugar, about 16 teaspoons. That means you take up that little teaspoon and you keep pouring it and you pour it 16 times. That's what they have per day. All right. Now, the rest of it, besides the drinks, it comes from the high carbohydrate foods, and which is the addition to their diet. Well, think about the ketchup and the salad dressing and the baked beans and all the stuff that we add to the foods, right? We haven't even counted the snacks yet, or the chips or the cakes or the cookies. We haven't even counted those yet. So what is it that is recommended? If 66 grams is what our children are eating and that is too much, what is recommended? Well, according to the expert, they say no more than 25 grams of sugar per day. No more than 25. Our children are having 66 grams of sugar. No more than 25 grams. And 25 grams, that's like 6 teaspoons of sugar. That is enough. Well, it's kind of hard to figure that out because you don't really know. The foods don't really say, here it is, and a big label on it, it says too much sugar, don't have it. There's some things we know already has too much sugar. But a lot of times the sugars kind of sneak up on us, right? They sneak up on us a lot. And so you're talking about anything that's a carbohydrate, like the waffles and the pancakes, and anything that's with white flour, breads and bagels and cookies and all of those, they are full of sugar because carbohydrate foods break down as sugar. Yeah, sugar in your diet. And processed foods has a lot of saturated fats, and it also has a lot of sugar, because in order for us to buy the food, it has to taste good, and for it to taste good, they add sugar to the food, right? So let's kind of take a look at some of these foods that the kids consume a lot of. Okay, let's look at the Lunchables. Looks pretty harmless. It says it has ham and cheese and some crackers. That looks kind of harmless. Great. I would grab this for my kids. But here's what it says. Per package is 340 calories. That's not just a big deal. But it's 7 grams of saturated fat. And it's also 700 milligrams of sodium. And does it have sugar? Oh, yeah, it does. 14 grams of sugar. Let's look at one of the things that you know is full of sugar. And the kids love to eat these Oreos. They love to eat the Oreos. All right, let's take our time and look at the back of it and see what it says. Total fat is 7 grams. Saturated fat is 2.5 grams, and that's 13%. Saturated fat is the bad fat. 13% of the bad fat. Total fat is 9%, but 13% is the bad fat. So it's mostly bad fat. We look at, of course, sodium is 4%. Carbohydrates, 21 grams, and that's 8%. Includes, does it have more sugar in it? Oh, yeah. 13 grams added sugar, and that makes up 25% of sugar in this. Cheese doodles, perfectly harmless. You start eating one and you just keep eating and eating. Well, what does it say on it? Well, total fat is 10%. Saturated bad fat is 10%. Sodium is 14%. That's a salt. And carbohydrates is 6%. Let's see, does it have any sugars in there? Total sugars include, it says 2 grams of sugar. Yeah, we thought there was no sugar at all. But there you have it. Let's look at the famous soda. Everybody loves to drink soda. Kids love to drink soda. All right. Okay, so the total fats here, it says 0. Sodium, 30 milligrams. Total carbohydrates is 41 grams. That's 15%. And it includes added sugars, which makes up 83%. Protein, 0. So this is mostly sugar. So that's the problem that we have when you look at the foods that they love to eat. What are the problems? What diseases does this cause? Well, the first thing is lack of concentration in school. And they need their brains in school. So that lack of concentration is a big problem. It causes obesity. For some kids, you'll see the obesity, but for some kids, they may not have to be obese. They'll be very skinny, but it doesn't mean that they're healthy. All right, they're not getting the nutrients they need. It causes type 2 diabetes, causes heart disease, and it leads to heart disease and leads to cancer later on. Okay, because sugar feeds on cancer. Cancer is good food for sugar. So if it's there, you have a lot of sugar, then that could be a problem. Well, what should they be eating? If a lot of these things are the problem, what should they be eating? Well, they should be eating foods that are natural, that grow in the ground, that you pick off the tree, like the oranges and the apples and all of those. Essentially, fruits and vegetables. Yes, fruits and vegetables. Okay, so what if they're picky eaters like my grandson, and they don't like to eat any fruits or any vegetables at all? They say the texture is bad, it's too chewy, it doesn't taste right. Whatever the excuses are, they'll make it for fruits and vegetables. They don't want to eat it. Many of them do not want to eat fruits and vegetables. What should you do? What can you do? Well, experts says, first thing, don't really give up at all. Don't give up. They say what you need to do is, for one, you have to sit and you have to eat with the children. Because if you're the role model and you're eating the right thing, it's fine. So make sure that you're sitting and eating with them. They'll be more apt to eat it. Number 2, make the food fun. Okay, so you have some colorful plates and you put everything in colorful plates and you design it really well. It's work. It is a little bit of work. Or you can make faces. You could have like cucumber eyes, tomato nose, a bean mouth, you shredded carrot for the hair, and that looks great, and they're going to try it because it looks like it's fun. Okay? Number 3, you can blend it into smoothies, right? Number 4, you can pair the fruits and vegetables with the other foods that they eat, with some carbohydrates or some protein, the foods that they like to eat. And number 5, you need to involve them in shopping. Take them shopping with you so they can look at the fruits and vegetables and maybe choose the ones that they like or the ones that they'd like to try. You know, they're more vested in that. If they see it and they're choosing it, they're more vested in eating it. And number 6, finally, be patient. Be patient with them and don't give up, because, you know, they may acquire a taste for it later on, but just don't give up. Just don't say, I don't want to, I'm not getting this anymore. I don't really like it. The kids don't like it. Let's not even eat it. Wrong. Please don't do that. Okay? So make sure that you're continuing to put it on the table and they will eventually eat it. Okay. Now, someone asked a question and they said, well, should you bribe them so if they eat a certain thing? So let's say if they eat spinach, could you bribe them to give them candy later? No, because that confuses them. So is candy bad or is it good? You're going to give me candy. I mean, like, then that's not a good thing. Why are you giving the candy to me? That confuses. And don't punish them if they don't eat the food. Don't say, well, if you can't eat your veggies, then you will never have any dessert, or you can't have any dessert. You could try that, but what that does is it makes them not like the food more. It leads to increased resistance to the food, so they really don't necessarily like it. So what you should do instead is to praise them when they eat the food, or they take a bite of it. You praise them to no end, make them feel great about doing such a great job by tasting the food and finally eating the food. Okay, so remember, too much sugar can ruin the gut. It also causes fatty liver disease, even though you can't see when the liver is fat. Fatty liver disease is something that it can cause, and it feeds the fire of diseases. Like I told you, cancer before, diabetes, and heart disease later on. So, you know, this is all things that will be great for you and your child. Remember that every child deserves a chance to have a bright future, and that future depends on you. And it also includes the food that they eat, because the food that they eat is fuel for their brains, right? They don't have the right fuel and they don't operate as well. All right. Don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, and also tell me which one of these tips you thought was the best. What tip did you like the most? We talked a couple of tips, and just give me your idea of which tip resonated the most with you, or what in this video resonated the most with you. All right, you have a great day, and I will see you next time when we start talking about the different kinds of exercises that the children need to do. All right, have a great day. Talk with you soon. I'm Hillary D. Simpson, your parent success coach. Bye.